Aloha! You are listening to KNKR LP 96.1 FM Kohala.
Stress free, that's all I wanna be. That high energy,
I had it this morning.
all around me. That good vibe, that good wine, that good life, that's all I.
Aloha! Welcome to Intuitive Talk Story. It is about 3:02 p.m. here on February 25th, 2026, and you're listening to KNKR LP 96.1 FM Kohala. I'm Michál Anna, your host, and I have today with me special guest Terra Sutton. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much. I am thrilled to be here as always and excited to see what comes up today. Today is especially Intuitive Talk Story because this is it. We're just going to start right now. We have no idea what is going to happen this show. Anything could happen.
Anything could happen.
Anything.
So in the vein of Intuitive Talk Story, we're going to get ourselves all present together, everybody out there and everybody in here. So if we can all just take a minute to close our eyes, take a breath together, bring ourselves here now into this space, into this moment, grounding into the earth, feeling that center core of the earth. Releasing the day, anything you've been doing, anything you're going to do later. And just coming into this time, heart and head, coherence, being aware of your connection to all that is, life, source, energy. And breathing into that presence. That we would listen and speak from an open heart, open mind, to receive anything that's going to help us on the journey today. Mahalo. And so it is. Thank you. So, welcome everyone. And it's great to be here today. We've entered the year of the fire horse last week. And I did not have my show last week. I was facilitating a retreat online and in person with some folks. It was very, very fun, very exciting, and a lot of new energy coming in. And we were talking a lot about the new energy and about kind of what's different, what's going to be different as we enter this new fire horse energy. And what does that even mean? It's a cycles of astrologically, we're entering huge cycles. Things that have never happened or haven't happened in thousands of years are happening right here, right now. And we're all here, a part of it, which is exciting.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I came flying in the door today, just excited about that whole transition. I really am feeling it quite a lot. And I also felt a lot of the last part of the snake year. So the last part of the snake year for me was like a major squeeze. It was just like, oh yeah, you think you're kind of cruising along in your life? How about this? And it's like the emotional squeeze, the financial squeeze. It was just like the squeeze was on. And I feel like then at the end of that, last week, I mean, hallelujah for me. I don't know if, I don't rule my life on Chinese zodiac astrology or even the tips from astrology, but I have to tell you, I can feel it. And that squeeze I've just squeezed out to the other side. I've acknowledged the things that really were bringing me the squeeze, not just physical and financial, but the emotional pieces that related to that feel like I came to some form of peace with them in my life and realize, wow, you have to, for me, I have to open even like more. This is asking me to open so much more of my old patterns and my old heart and my old pain and my old fears to just let it like mold that out and just say goodbye to those deeper, it's a deeper layer. I know I'm talking a lot, but and then the feeling this week is like I could feel glimpses of like, wow, what inside of my internal framework of my being, if I can and do, I'm like the encouragement of this energy of the fire horses for me is like, wow, I can just soften the limiting constructs of my mental body. It's almost like all the things that were like, oh, I can't do that because of that, or oh, that feels a little bit uncomfortable. Like that actually holds a construct in your being, in your energetic space. And this feels like an invitation to just drop all the like, it's a texture of beingness that has to drop away from your mental body. And then what's left is like all the energy you need, galloping forward to like be open to the flow and just be open to the flow.
I love it. I love what you're saying. And I too feel a huge shift. I don't feel like I'm really galloping yet, but I do feel, and I guess the way I would describe it is kind of like for me, the last couple years has been a purge and has been like everything that I had poured myself into is pretty much fallen away. And this falling away, and I think a lot of people have been experiencing that this year and in this last little bit, kind of like you were describing, of that last purge of the snake. What are we letting go of? And I feel like for me, it's been a lot of letting go. A lot of different things falling out of my life and people falling out of my life and whole threads of stories falling out of my life. And there's a little bit of, that death feeling. There's been that little bit of that like, sad to see it all go, a little bit of that. And then also I feel this really, really new open expanse. It kind of feels like anything is possible. Anything goes. And I have no idea. Who knows? I don't. It feels a lot like that. Like we don't have to know is the other thing. And in retreat, we talked a lot about that. We don't have to know what exactly is coming. And I spoke a lot about sensing into life. And I think this is where we all get to go, is we've lived in kind of a, think it out, think about this, and we really need to move and have the opportunity, I should say, to move into our sensing self. And that sensing is not a mind thing. It's not a like listed out kind of thing. It's a real present thing. Like, what am I feeling right here, right now when I sense into my emotions, I sense into what I'm feeling or experiencing or what I'm receiving from, the ethers, from spirit, from the air, from the wind, from the ocean spray. What am I sensing? What is igniting or becoming alive in me in each moment? And you don't have to know anything or feel like, well, if you're like, gosh, I don't feel excited about anything. I feel that too. I kind of feel like it feels a little like an emptiness, like a hump. What is going to happen now? I don't know.
But that's a beautiful state that you're describing, that moment where you can just receive, basically it's information, but it's also receive an experience, receive your senses, receive the environment, receive the nature, receive all that there is in this moment. You're receiving that. And the key is how to allow what you're taking in to remain exactly what that is without adding like a story to it, right? Allow the breeze that you're feeling, that you're taking, and you can feel it on your skin, you're feeling it in your hair, you can feel the negative ions. Allow it to be exactly as it is. And the moment that we apply our mind to it to say, oh, that's a beautiful breeze. I wonder if that's coming from the south. Or, I hope I close my windows. Those kind of things. Like we rob ourselves of the moment just a little bit. And that's, that's exactly what I'm talking about. This, and what I feel, if you can take that moment, if you're like, you're taking everything in, you can you're clearing your expectation of the world, that preconceived notion of like, oh, well, and we walk around doing this all the time without even knowing it, right? Like that's how we've figured out how to cope.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we can stay in that space of taking information and then allowing the action, our response to that, to come from like our essence or whatever we want to call that, allowing our response to that to come from there instead of adding a story and making a, well, because of this, then I must do that. And then, well, you know.
I love that you said response too versus a reaction. So it's also, am I in response to life, sensing, feeling, experiencing this moment now, or am I reacting to life? And the difference there is if something, Terra yells at me right now, and then I'm like, what are you doing? That's me reacting instead of just responding from my clear present self and thinking, oh, that's her problem today. And, I'm going to respond with the same love that I was holding a moment ago, right? So keeping our own essence, not reacting to life. And there's a lot of opportunity to practice this in the world right now, right? Where there's so much, quote unquote, going on out there, or not, but so much that's that you could get into reaction about, or you could get very involved in. There's a lot unfolding. I think a lot dying. A lot is crumbling. And that crumble can feel kind of uncomfortable. It can feel, and I was in a journey, like a breathwork journey recently. And if you've never just breathed, boy, it's great. Just breathing. And it's very transcendental. You can go on your own transcendental journey just by breathing. And in this journey, I really saw the old earth like falling away and burning, quite literally. And this new blue-green earth, Gaia, Tara rising. And there was like this image of the flying Buddha, like rolling through the galaxy, a galactic Buddha. Just, as I've said before, hands and feet in the moving car, reaching for nothing. And the big words were integrate, which I think we're all really doing, integrating what's transpired and where we want to go. And patience. Patience was really high up there. And I was like, ding, 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 patience is hard for me. So we all get another opportunity to be more patient and allow this unfolding, not reacting, but trusting and knowing that we're all moving through a great, great change. And this great, great change requires us to be really present, to sense and to sit in the center and allow things to kind of show up without, as I like to say, unattached and amused.
And what do you think it takes in a moment to become more patient?
Yeah, breath. I love the breath. Back to the breath. Great to just take a breath. Often that's what I have to do. I just have to go, Michál, take a breath, breathe. And I love those really like long, deep breaths, as I've said before, breathing all the way into the belly, taking a nice belly breath, moving that breath up through the lungs, up to the top of the head, and slowly pushing it back down. In client work, and both Terra and I are therapists, of course, so we get to work with the body, which is so fun. And a lot of times you see a lot of gunk stuck in the ribs. So this breathing is important. Like right now, we're all like, get that stuff out. Any old emotion that's still lingering, breathe it out.
Yeah. Breathe it out.
Breathe it out.
Breathe
of
it
the
in,
body.
breathe it out. I mean, breathe in new air, breathe it out. I mean, how often do we forget to breathe?
Well, you do breathe. You keep breathing because, you might not be putting your mind to it, but you're still
breathing
here.
a little, but I mean, like, how do we forget to really breathe?
To really breathe, for sure. And it's one of the things I think we could both speak to as practitioners. I often have clients that are shallow breathing, and we talk a lot about, whoa, let's bring the breath in and expand the chest. And so you can think of expansion. How do I want to expand my world? Well, let me expand my breath. And let me see if I can make a little more room in my own beingness for something new. And I feel like that's what I'm doing. I'm right there experiencing all these things, letting go of old things. The whole world that I experienced the last 25 years is really like out the window. And it's like a little bit sad. I've had some sadness, some deep sadness around letting all these things go that I've put so much energy and time into. It's been, quite the lesson in unattachment. And at the same time, I feel this really great opportunity to invite new experience, to invite new ways of operating and think, well, I already did do that. So, I don't need to do it again. I did those things. I did them well. I don't feel negative about my experience of what I put forth and what I gave. I am grateful for the amount of nonprofit work I've done, the amount of people I've been able to serve, the amount of people I've been able to help and expand, and people I've taught and given to. I'm grateful for all those experiences. I'm grateful for what I've learned and what it grew in me, right? And how it's made me become the person I am today. All of us are, compounding and building upon our yesterday creates our today. And so that opportunity to kind of go, but to ask, well, I don't have to necessarily feel the same thing I did yesterday. What do I feel today? Let me sense into that and allow it to be different. It can change.
Yeah, I think habitually we get so used to reacting or responding, I think mostly reacting to certain situations in a very particular way, right? Like, oh, if somebody does X, Y, Z, if my mother does X, Y, Z, or my friend does X, Y, Z, then I feel QRS. And that's just the way it is, because that's how those things affect me. And that's how I feel about that. And I know we've been talking for a while. I come on your show. It's always special and always amazing and always so fun, that things that come up. And I find that we do talk about this. It weaves in there, at least, to say it's time to let go and basically come back into our being and back into our presence. I think we'll be talking about that for the rest of our lives, right? Like, it's okay. It's okay. It's always a good reminder to say, in this moment right now, how can I show up more for this moment? And maybe it is like, say I have a family member that's saying X, Y, Z to me, and I have felt like sad for so long about just this scenario. And what if today, since it's a brand new day, what if I absolutely let go of that, my emotional response to that knowingness that person feels that way, and see what else is there. What if I can just say, oh, just because I have been sad for 2.5 months about the same thing, and I really feel it deeply. Yes, that's true. And also, I have a brand new opportunity right now, right? I have a brand new opportunity today to be present, to go, oh,
maybe that's not what that is.
Maybe that's
or maybe
not
I can
how
change
I
my perspective.
feel. Maybe I need to change my perspective. Maybe I can just give myself a little love around the corners right there where that little girl was feeling sad. And then what happens? Then I go, oh, I love that person. I have just as much love as I had for them the whole time. I just was feeling so sad inside myself. I kind of withdrew myself. And at the end of the day, that's really not who I am. That's not my essence. And I'm so happy to love everybody that I love.
I can so relate to this, because when I crushed my world, I felt like I really withdrew into myself and felt a lot of like, nobody loves me. And you can really get in on your pity pot in different ways. And then you go, that isn't me, because I'm a lover all the way through. And I love people. I love serving people. I love being with people. I love expansion. I love all the things. And sometimes we get hurt and we contract, and we get to the word that was coming up when you were talking was forgive. We get to forgive. And this is huge because, well, we've all been wronged. We've all been betrayed, wronged. We've had things happen that didn't feel good. And if we can just pull a little more into, I forgive that person. I've had to do a lot of forgiving of a specific person that really hurt me, and go, well, that's their life experience. It's not personal, actually. It's based in their upbringing and the way they were taught and the things that they didn't have or, weren't exposed to, which is why they couldn't have the capacity to meet me in XYZ. And so, when we take a step back and we get a little unattached and we're able to look from neutrality and leap from unity. And this, we see it differently. And that's kind of another concept I brought up, and I've brought up many times on this show, but leaping, I think it becomes really apparent now, is where are you leaping from? Am I leaping from a dualistic perspective? Am I thinking with the same mind that created the problem? Or am I leaping from a unified field? And this leaping from a unified field is kind of a big concept because it means changing whole paradigms of how you're perceiving. To give an example, I was talking, let's say, it's a silly example. Let's say, we're going to get in the car with this. I was talking to somebody about this. You're going to get in the car and I want to, I'm concerned the seat is wet. I would like to get you a towel. So I'm going to get you a towel. And they go, oh, no, I don't need one. I'm just going to use this little tiny towel. I go, oh, but I really would love to give you a bigger towel because I care for you. But the person perceives, no, I don't need your towel. What do you think? Your towel's better than my towel? Which is, now you can see we're coming from duality. That's a dualistic expression right there. They're inherently thinking that there's a competition or a push-pull instead of thinking, this person has my highest good and interest and is coming from a unified field. They're my friend. They're on my team. So if we change that, you then feel, oh, maybe I don't need the towel or whatever, but I could maybe be in acceptance. Like, oh, that's so sweet of you to be caring for me, which changes how I'm feeling about it and how the other person's feeling about it when we see that we are inherently on each other's team. First and foremost, we tend to leap from this separated point of view. Like, who does she think she is? Or what do you think you're doing? Or you think you're better than me? That's all leaping from duality. It's leaping from separation. And ultimately, we want to create more unified thinking,
Right.
more togetherness.
And even, I think, I think that's a great example, right? Because there's so many, we could go deep on that example.
Totally.
Because at some point you could also come back to like, oh, he said he didn't want the towel. That's fine. Unified field. Okay, still, I'm keeping that I accept that that's you rolling your life out and I'm still in the unified field and I'm not feeling separation, even when that person might be coming to us with their version of separation. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, this is the master class. This is welcome the fire horse. We get to just like go, oh, even if, say, I'm offering something that I feel is coming from total love and it gets received as, you can see it happen in people's eyes. It gets received as something totally different, turned around, and then suddenly you're having a conversation you never expected, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, this is that moment that you go, oh, right now, how do I stay in that moment that I felt I was in with my offer, right? Even when somebody's coming back at me and saying, you blah, blah, whatever, offended and projecting and turning and then suddenly, it's like, phew, here you go. And then you're 10,000 steps later in that person's mind and you've committed all these personal attacks on them and all you were offering them was a kind towel, a little bigger, a little easier, a little better to soak up that amount of liquid, right? I mean, like,
and you're like, how did we get here? It's just a towel. What happened? And that's often what does happen is we get misconstrued because, again, we're operating from our different filters. And, I might, if I have a wound, right, and someone has not treated me real nice, I'm not really coming from that unified place. I'm on to my toes. I'm thinking, well, what are you trying to do here? What do you want? And so the other person gets to not react, right. And we get to respond and take note that maybe this person needs to be honored for right where they are.
Yeah.
And also maybe I can reach in. Maybe I can't. Sometimes you can't reach in and give a hug or offer a thing. It just gets worse.
Yeah.
So what you can do is let go, right? We can just let go and know, well, that's just what it is right here, right now. And I don't need it to be different. And that's been a big one for me because I always like, can't we all be friends? I just want us all to play and get along and everyone to be in sunshine bubbles and happy unicorns. And well, a lot of people are like, I don't want to be in sunshine bubbles and happy unicorns. And then I'm like, but no, please. And then that's my own attachment to someone being and meeting me maybe in the moment I'm in, right? So we have to let go of whatever moment we're in and be willing to meet each other, well, wherever that is, without
Yes.
judgment, without projection, without reaction. And that gets back into checking ourselves, going, how do I want to show up? Ultimately, that's the choice I get to make each day. How do I want to show up and meet the world and the people in it?
Yes, and it also reminds me of what you mentioned earlier. The moment, the word, one of the words that you mentioned was patience, and that's why I asked, like, how do you do patience? Because in that moment, right, you're like, here's a beautiful flower, and they're like, I hate daisies, and then you're like, what? I'm giving you something nice, and then they're like, maybe I hate them and I'm allergic to them and blah blah blah. And then how do you in that moment, because you might have your own response of separation, like you know,
don't
that
love me.
oh, wait a minute, you don't love me because you don't take my flower, and can't you see that I'm giving you something out of my heart?
Mm-hmm.
That little moment is our opportunity, right, to do this thing. And I think, can we talk about more, how do we do that moment, you know, because all of us have that moment and we're like, "Ugh," or we stuff it and then we feel it later. And it's okay. It doesn't matter how many of these moments we have. We can always open them up. We can always come back to that place where it goes, oh, what does patience mean right now? Like, what does that mean? Is that just a pausing? Like, what is it? How does it? I'm actually asking you,
Yeah.
Michál, like,
Well, actually, I feel when you're talking, the 4 agreements are ringing in my head. I just love the simple 4 agreements. You can always kind of come back to these. Take nothing personal being number 1.
that's hard.
Take nothing personal. And this is the hugest one because most of us, like that, what you just said, the flowers, I'm taking it personal. You don't take my flower. I'm taking it personal. You don't want my flower. What? You don't want my flower? What are you thinking? That's me taking it personal. So I have to first take nothing personal. So right there, if I stop, I'm like, that's just their thing. She doesn't like daisies. It's nothing to do with me. Then I get to make no assumptions. That's another big one because we often then tack on an assumption after we take it personal. Then we take an assumption and go, well, you must not like my flowers and you don't like me, huh? What? Now I've assumed something, right? And then be impeccable with your word. So now I get to not speak something that's going to make it worse. I get to be quiet maybe. And that's where that patience comes in. I'm not going to take this personal. I'm not going to make an assumption that she's got something about me because she doesn't want my daisies. And then I get to be impeccable with my word. I don't get to speak anything negative into the field. Instead, okay then. That doesn't work for you. Wonderful. No problem. So then I'm impeccable with my word. I have not made anything happen and I'm true to what I think or say. So to me, that also includes being honest and truthful with myself first and foremost. And then the last one of those is always do your best. So 4 agreements.
Yeah.
Those are the 4 Toltec agreements, by the way, book by Miguel Ruiz. And I happen to be a Toltec descendant. So
Hot diggity.
hot diggity dog.
Yes. And, even in that, I love this. We're just like exploring this example that's fictitious. And this is, in that moment where the person says, I don't like daisies. I'm allergic to them. Like, "Rrr." And you go, oh. And then if you can catch yourself, and then you can come back into your presence and into your truth. Like, and if you are actually exercising, if you can even find that part of yourself, right? Because if we go into reaction, we can't even feel it. We just go, oh, and then you're just all hurt inside, and then you might just go, okay, all right, I gotta go, and I'll see you later.
We might avoid.
We might just avoid
Yeah,
and
we might
just
avoid.
take off. But if we stay and we go, what could have been the truth right there in that moment? You say, "Oh, I'm so sorry you don't like daisies. I was hoping to share how much I love you."
There,
You
that's
know, like-
nice. And now you've just expressed what those flowers were meaning for
Meant,
you.
yeah.
And now I get, let's say I'm the one on the recipient end, I get to go, oh, well, thank you so much for being so thoughtful. The daisies has nothing to do with you. And I'm so grateful for your thoughtfulness. And
Right.
now we both have gotten our needs met. I don't have to take the daisies because they're going to make me sneeze. And she gets to feel like, hey, I was doing something nice for you and I'm being recognized or received in that. So if we're being communicative and we're caring and leaping from unity and we're both trying to do that together and making that a point, then we inherently it changes how we communicate, because it means then I get to be flexible. Another great word.
Mm-hmm.
I get to be flexible. I get to be unattached. Maybe I've actually got some dahlias also in my car. I go,
Right.
hey,
I'll
you
be
don't
right
like
back.
daisies? No problem. How about a dahlia? Let's change it up. We don't have to stay on the same thing. We can allow things to move and become different, right? So in that, we're going to take a quick station break. It's already 3:33, so we love to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And let's take a little station break, and we'll come right back with more intuitive talk story.
Hey Kohala, there's a place where you can go to check out a bunch of community resources. If you're looking for videos of the Kohala reunion, you can find them on kohalakupaa.com. If you want to go read up on some myths and stories of North Kohala, the place to go is kohalakupaa.com. If you want to help out your kupuna or keiki with some health and other community resources, feel free to go to kohalakupaa.com. They also got an online marketplace with some great gifts from local North Kohala vendors. They got all kinds of stuff on Kohala, KUPAA.com.
The keiki hold our future, and they will carry on. Kohala, kupa'a. Kohala, kupa'a.
All are welcome at the food pantry at St. Augustine's Episcopal Church in Kapa'au. The St. Augustine's Food Pantry distributes 60 to 90 bags of groceries every Tuesday at 4 p.m. to families in need. For more information about volunteering and the ways you can support the food pantry, go to staugustineskohala.com or visit their Facebook page at St. Augustine's Food Pantry. You can also bring food donations to St. Augustine's on Tuesday before 2 p.m. Again, the food distribution is at St. Augustine's Food Pantry at 4 p.m. every Tuesday at St. Augustine's Episcopal Church in Kapa'au. Mahalo.
What's up, Kohala? B-Love here. The Plush Lounge is open every Friday, 7 to 10 p.m. And it's your place to refuel your spirit, elevate your energy, transform your thinking, and spend time in gratitude for this wacky yet magical human ride we are all on together. Catch the encore on Sundays, 6 to 9 p.m., and I'll see you Friday, 7 to 10, all right here on KNKR LP 96.1 FM Kohala.
Okay, welcome back to Intuitive Talk Story. You're listening to KNKR LP 96.1 FM Kohala. This is Michál Anna, your host, and I'm here with Terra Sutton, and we are having a fabulous conversation about entering the new era and choosing new things, letting go of the old, and leaping from a unified field, and maybe communicating from a different place. One of the things I was reminded of as we were taking that break was something my elder says that I really love, which is everything in creation needs to be recognized for that which it is. and that seen and valued for what it truly is. And that is a big deal, to be honest, because most of us aren't recognizing one another for all that we truly are, all that we truly represent. We might know just a superficial aspect of each other, or see each other from a certain perspective. So if you kind of think about what would that look like if I'm really honoring myself and recognizing myself at that level, and recognizing the people in my life, really recognizing them for who they truly are. What comes up for you when I say that, Terra?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like there's so much opportunity for us to even get to a place in general that we even can see ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel the deeper we know ourselves and can see ourselves through time and space and beyond this particular lifetime and all those things, the more capacity we have to see the totality of others and maybe even our natural environment and even our energetic environment that's around us. But that ability to recognize and see it for what it is comes from a place of cultivation of ourselves, being able to see ourselves and know where we came from. Because it's, my perspective at least is that it's like micro being our own being, micro is, macro. So if we can know our being through and through, because our being is not just how you and I walk around, as you and I both know, because we work in this realm.
Mm-hmm.
But when we start diving into the depths and the dynamicism of who we are, then we go, oh, wow. Like that means that the whole world is more dynamic than I thought it was, and more deep and there's more layers of realities and dimensions and existences. And that becomes really exciting, but also that's where I think when you're saying everything in creation needs to be, actually I'm not saying it right, recognized for what it is.
For that which it truly is.
For that which it truly is. I mean, generally, that takes a lot of cultivation of ourselves and our perspective to be able to see it at all. And so, I mean, I think it's like there's like a spectrum of how much we can acknowledge and see things for what they are is how much we can acknowledge and see ourselves for what we truly are and the bigness of our beings and the you can say a little more about that.
Well, I would say that it becomes maybe a great goal, like one of those like, hey, questions. What am I recognizing about this? Am I recognizing even the salt spray for that which it truly is, which is actually huge, just that alone, just standing by the water's edge? Am I recognizing the wholeness and completeness of this moment and what is all being offered to me in the sky, in the salt spray, in the breeze, the magnitude of what's encompassed in that? Because we, here in Hawaii, we're so blessed to, be in more touch to the animated form of nature. We refer to like our tutupele, and we're aware that there's an animated form, a spirit, a driving force, that there's other things at play when we're talking about fire. We're not just talking about fire. We're talking about actually a million things. And so you could get very, very detailed with each of, every single thing, rock, sand, pebble. And you know how they say it takes one to know one, right? So I often can't recognize something in you until I can recognize it in myself, so that cultivation, I think, of back to our, what am I learning? Where am I moving from? And making it a goal in my conversing to become as present as possible, to recognize whatever is taking place in the moment with the person I might be communing with or the elements I might be communing with, and doing my best to just place some awareness into that space in myself, and then reflecting that space outward. And I will say here, the opinions, beliefs, and views of the host do not necessarily reflect those of KNKR or their affiliates. Although it's all, these are all good things, but want to make sure this
to
is just
remember.
us talking here. So, so when I think communication is a great way for, obviously we can communicate in many ways, movement, eyes, energetics, and then talking is one that we all use a lot. So we could start there and trying to be more awake and aware and present with how we're communing in our conversing time with others.
This morning, that's so nice that you circling into the communication element and tying that together with communication and what we were just talking about, that recognition of the creation as it is, basically. I had such a beautiful conversation with this person this morning that I've known for years and years and years. And he really, within that conversation, exhibited these qualities of bringing up quite a few different elements for us to talk about, acknowledging, like asking and acknowledging and being so transparent and so curious and so loving, and even with things that were vulnerable and tender. And it was a beautiful example for me to say, because sometimes I have my own feelings and I keep them inside. And I just go, okay, well, we're having a good relationship in the sense of we're having a good relating, we have great conversations. I know there's something that probably is a little line in there that I haven't really brought up to the surface to be addressed because it's so little. And today was that, like, a beautiful experience of somebody saying, let's acknowledge all of the beautiful creation that we're doing, if it's uncomfortable or not, all of it, right? And we get to explore those things without our reactions. We actually get to explore them in a place where we both feel like, oh yeah, this is acknowledging who you are. This is acknowledging who I am in a deep way, not just a like run of the mill, like, oh yeah, hey, how was the thing? And how's your mom? And how's the thing? But in a way that felt, I guess lots of presence there, and there's no rush to be anywhere else. And I really appreciated him bringing up that little fine line that it wasn't an issue, but it was, something that's just thin, like within, like kind of runs through our relationship that just we didn't bring up, and address it with so much care and acknowledgement of the creation of it, of the future of it, or of the nothing of it, and be in that space. It really felt like what you were talking about, just seeing the creation as it is.
Mm-hmm. And so the other couple words that were coming up for me when you're saying that is what I'm feeling from you is that you felt seen, you felt valued, you felt seen and recognized in your expression in that conversation, which is a big deal, because we're often not feeling seen or valued if we're just out in the world. We're kind of, many people, we often put on airs or put on a smile or put on something so that you can go out there and do the thing. But what does it feel like to just show up from a place of support? Like, how does it feel to show up to life as kind of full in ourselves? And this kind of gets back to, why do we meditate? Why do we do any of this stuff? Why do we use tools? So that we can do this, so we can show up not coming from a wound or with a filter on or, a trigger right under the skin. So we can actually show up and I can value what you're saying and see you in this moment without an agenda or without trying to get something from you or trying to get you to get something from me, but just being in this field of sensing, back to that, with one another, sitting in a place of unity, which back to I support you, you support me, we are supported in this whole experience. And that feels really different to feel like I'm supported in this whole experience. The world doesn't tell you that you're supported in this whole experience. The world is like, you should be this and you should be that. And if you're not this, then screw it. It's often very rah, rah. And the world is often, when I say the world, I mean, if the things out there can tend to be, we've created a lot of competition in our world out there. And we are all getting to shift this way of leaping, not from competition, but from cooperation in this new era. And it really is a new era. And yeah.
Yeah. And we get to hold that. We get to hold what I am calling that's a new place for me. Like, say, if I am, like with the daisy thing, if I am, I come to the table, I'm like, here, look, I made this for you. And they're like, that's terrible. I don't like it at all. And then, instead of taking it personally or feeling like, oh, they can't see that I love them because they're not, they can't see that my gift is my love, then I can just like let go of everything else, like all of that. And I can just in a very new place, just go, oh, I'm sorry you don't like daisies. I still love you. I mean, I love you. It's not still love you, but I love you. And I was trying to share my love, and I'm happy to do it differently. I'm sorry I gave you daisies. That's not a very nice gift for you. Like, let me find a different one that's better for you, because that's something you're allergic to. So, being able to hang in your presence, in your patience, in yourself, in your unity of your own being with somebody else. That's amazing. And if they pop out, like I think this is we need to build the muscle. And if they pop out of unity and they go into like, hey, I don't like them. I can't, this is what somebody could do. I can't believe you gave me daisies. I'm allergic to them. How do you not know me?
Right. And now it's a personal
and
thing.
now they're taking it personal, and then
now
you
I don't even know
goes.
you.
Yeah. Now I so had that relationship with one of my very good friends last year, and my friends would know that XYZ. I'm like, wow.
But I do such and such. So, but this also comes into, now we have to recognize, and I'm kind of a client situations popping in my mind of, let's say you were raised though with someone who often rejected you. You had an emotionally unavailable father, or you had a mother who was avoidant. So if you've had these qualities in your life, and this is the first place you go back to looking, what was my upbringing like, and what patterns were in there, and that might be why I'm so sensitive to this particular pattern. And then you get to go, nothing's wrong with me. I'm okay. I don't judge that I'm feeling this way. It's okay that I'm having this feeling right now because I was trained to have this feeling. So I get to kind of repattern myself by seeing it, kind of taking responsibility that, I can change it because I now recognize what it is. And, my father often rejected me. And so that's why I might be taking this a little personal right now. I see that, and I'm going to make a shift. And I realize you're not my father, and you're not rejecting me in that same way as maybe my father did. And I can maybe go in, and it's a great moment to go, hey, little girl that's resting in my heart, or little boy, oh, I love you. I love myself, and I see you, and I value you. Giving ourselves the recognition first and foremost then allows us to give that to other people. I can't expect Terra to validate my experience or validate me for being present, right? I have to first validate myself. And then in doing so, we can both come to the table without expectation or trying to get something, because I'm not trying to get it from Terra. I'm already getting it from source, from my connection to God, from my connection to life. And that ultimately is where we all want to be navigating is, am I getting filled up from my connection to life and then able to kind of do these fine tunes? And for those of you out there who've had a lot of trauma, it's okay. You know, you're loved, you're valued, you're supported. And it just takes a little extra work. We each have to get through some things and recognize them and just do the day-to-day staying with it and peeling away those layers.
Yeah, and in that moment, like you're saying, that moment that you go, oh, I'm just gonna pause. I recognize in this moment that it's bringing up this feeling of sadness or rejection or whatever. Then, doing the work in that moment. Not maybe you take the work home. You go, I can feel I'm having reaction. Right. I'm gonna go. Okay. I mean, you and I have actually done this. I'm like, I'm
Terra
gonna have to go home and work on this.
Yeah, or I might be able to say, hey, it depends on your relationship. Like Terra and I obviously have a close working relationship in these realms. I would be able to say, you know what, Terra, something's coming up for me right now. I just need a second. I'm going to have to breathe through this and take a look at it. I'm going to talk to my little girl for a minute. So some people you can do that with. Others, you're like, you know what? The bathroom is Superman's office. Like, excuse me, I'll be right back. I need to go to the restroom. And take a quick look at myself. What's coming up? Because I don't want it to spill out into this situation. I want to handle it for myself so I can come back to my center, recognize, take authority over my life, responsibility, and leap from a unified field, which is where I want to be leaping from, right?
Yeah. Yes. And that moment, I just want to add that physiologically, right? So when we're having that conversation and somebody says, rah, 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 I don't like this, and you're rah, rah, rah. And then you go, oh, douche, right? It hits your heart and you go, oh, this feels just like rejection. This feels, and you go, oh, I'm having, and then whatever, you have your reaction. Then you go into Superman's, little changing station in the bathroom, and you breathe and you say, oh, what is this that I feel? What is it that I feel? Right. So what happened is in that moment, we go through a physiological reaction in a moment when somebody brings up an old pattern for us. Right? They say, blah, 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 you didn't do this good enough or whatever it was. And then you say in yourself, literally you can feel it. Sometimes it's tingly. Sometimes you feel hot even, like if you have that kind of response. Their body is responding. Your body is remembering that trauma event that is behind how you feel, right? How your body responds. You go into like Superman's changing station, and you can address your physiology. And that's the first thing is the breath. Mm-hmm. So with the breath, you literally can bring your nervous system back to present. And you can notice like, oh, wow, when that moment happened out there with that person, I completely clammed, like my whole system went, and I got hot, and my essence is not available. I am completely in a trigger or a physiological trauma response. And we can go in there and breathe and start unpackaging our physiological response so that we can show up again and inhabit our being again with our whole energy. Like it's nobody else's business. It's our business to allow our essence, our energetic bodies, our beingness of all who we are, which is way bigger than this moment, right? And I think that's that moment that on a greater scale, the forgiveness, it's not necessarily for somebody else, it's for you. From that early trauma pattern, that moment, somehow in that moment, we are us, we forget how big we are and how connected we are to the universe and how source is fully flowing through us all of the time. We forget that and we think we're small, and then it feels like real trauma.
And I love what you said. It's often forgiving yourself. And back to even I was speaking earlier about having to forgive others for traumas and betrayals or this or that. But ultimately, when it's come down to it, I had to forgive myself because, I called those experiences in. I created those experiences that I then played out because of my own wounding. And that wounding of, mother, father, wounds, etc., that we then create from this place, because we're creating all the time. So and so may have been in my experience and treated me in a poor way or this or that, but ultimately I allowed it. Ultimately I bought into that story, and I have to forgive myself, which is the hardest person to forgive. Gosh darn it, for doing that or allowing that or not seeing that. And I like to say, like, when the triggers come up, it's like the roaches all come out and they're all out right then. You could close the light, shut the door, and they'll all go back under the couch. Like, forget it, I'm not going in. But if you take the minute to actually go with your slipper and get the roaches, dang. Like, now I'm making progress, right? I'm taking names and I'm clearing things out. I'm really cleaning house. And that's what these opportunities are. They're actually opportunities for us to clean house. So if we see it as this great moment, this great opportunity to heal and to move into greater awareness, greater recognition, and greater harmony with myself and then with everyone I interact with.
Yes. Greater capacity for ourselves, then greater capacity with our loved ones around us, and greater capacity with our community, and greater capacity to our beautiful home planet.
Mm-hmm.
And all of our friends that are furry and have feathers and all of that. That builds our
everything in
capacity,
life.
right? It's
all
all
of creation. So back to that all of creation in this new time. And that's just all just as we kind of are coming to a close here, think and feel into what am I giving my energy to in this new time? We all have the opportunity to let go of something and to embrace a new way of being. So how am I going to show up differently? How do I want to recognize or put a little more awareness into my conversations, into the depth of my own beingness, and leaping from a unified field, knowing ourselves and therefore knowing one another at a greater capacity. So with that, we're going to play a song here to wrap it up from the Soul Good family that kind of speaks to what we've been talking about. And Terra, thank you for joining me here today. Always a pleasure to have you.
Oh, likewise. Thank you so much for having me. And for all the listeners out there, have a beautiful day.
Aloha.
Singing and we're dancing in a tenuous time, giving invigoration for your body and your mind. The motion of the ocean is so clandestine, but if you not go rock the boat, you not see the sea shine. Got to malama aina in a this your prime time. Aloha one another, this a reflex shine. Aloha one another, this a reflex shine. I said aloha one another, this a reflex shine. The moment is the moment and the time is now. Take the time for your brother, kindness you got to show, whether you're living in the city or down in the ghetto. If you a shark in the water or an eagle rainbow, it is a reality. Jaja wind is gonna blow. It is a reality. Jaja wind is gonna blow. It is a reality. Jaja wind is gonna blow. It is a reality. Jaja wind is gonna blow. 'Cause we are living in a high time, alive with the people waking up to realize if we keep sleeping, we'll never see the sunrise. If we keep sleeping, we'll never see the sunrise. I know who I am. Who are you? To judge me, I won't judge you. I know who I am. I am you. I am reflecting love back to you. I know who I am. Who are you? To judge me, I won't judge you. I know who I am. I am you. I am reflecting love back to you. So take your worries and your concern, throw them all away. A life of judgment, it could only bring you pain. So let it go now, let it flow. Hate is such a drain. Choosing love, we dance for freedom in the purifying rain.
Did you know that pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America? Whether you're 8 or 80, pickleball is easy to learn. Join this exciting Kohala pickleball group. Come on down to the Cam Park Gym Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 8 p.m. It's fun, it's social, and it's kind of addicting. We play on small courts with a wooden racket and a wiffle ball. All the equipment is provided. That's Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Cam Park Gym.